Hi, this is Kim from Mom's Creative Moments, and I am bringing to you a project recipe today from a collection that was released in 2021. This is for Seaside, and if you don't have this collection, that's okay, because like I always remind everybody, these project recipes are designed to work with any collection that you have. So this is a layout that can be used with another collection. But if you do have Seaside, pull it out of your stash and let's put it to use today. I am using our Border Maker cartridge, our Border Maker system, but I'm not going to use the Border Maker cartridge that is used on the project recipe. And the reason is because I actually loaned it to my mother-in-law. My sweet mother-in-law has it right now, and so I don't have it, but we are going to experiment with a couple of others Border Maker chains that we can use with this design, and it should work just really nicely. So we are going to need 4 pieces of paper. You're not going to need a specific base paper, but if you're building this on a page, you'll get to skip a portion of the video because we're going to be welding some pieces together. If you're actually putting these pages together on your scrapbook pages, you won't need to weld them because you can just put them right into your book. But in the meantime, I have these 2 pieces which we are going to cut and weld together as our base. And then I have these 2 pieces which will be our accents and our mats for this layout. So let's go ahead and grab our trimmer and we will get started cutting. Here is a look at the sketch. This is what it's going to look like. And here's an example that's given. And then this is the cutting guide. So it uses 2 pieces of tone-on-tone paper and 2 pieces of designer paper. And I'm going to walk you through this right now. So go ahead and grab your paper, put me on pause if you need to. And if you are going to be welding your pages together, because you're not adhering them into an album at this time, then you are also going to need a little bit of an extra bit of cardstock. All right, because the instructions call for using the designer paper to weld, but I prefer to just use cardstock. It makes your page a lot more stable, and it also helps to save on your beautiful designer paper. So no worries. All right. So we're going to cut each of these pieces the same way, and then we're going to swap a portion of each of them and weld them together. So that's our first task. And we're going to cut 4 inches. When you use a directional piece, like this piece is very much a directional piece. The anchors are going a certain direction, the lobsters are going a certain direction. So we need to make sure that those stay going that same way. So don't, if you're going to cut it this way, you know that your piece is going to be vertical like this, your lobsters are going to be sideways. We don't want sideways lobsters. So we're going to turn it so that our lobsters are going the long way with the trimmer, and we're going to cut this at 4 inches. Okay, so you'll have a piece that's 4 inches and a piece that's 8 inches. And then set that aside and grab the other piece that's going to be a portion of your base. And we're also going to cut this at 4 inches. When you have stripes, it's kind of up to you what you prefer. You can go vertical or you can go horizontal. For the purpose of this particular layout, I'm going to use these as horizontal stripes because horizontal stripes always remind me of the horizon, and when I think of the ocean or the seaside, I think of horizontal things. So that's why I'm going to cut these horizontally instead of vertically. But it is completely up to you. If you prefer vertical stripes, cut yours vertically, or don't use a striped piece. That is also an option. Okay, so we have that. And then I'm also going to grab my cardstock here, and we're just going to cut 2 1-inch pieces of cardstock really quick. These are our pieces we're going to use to weld. And then we're going to weld our base pieces together. All right, so setting my trimmer aside very quickly, and we'll need that again in just a minute. We're going to go ahead and weld these pieces together. So you need a small piece and a larger piece. And because our lobsters are directional, we need to kind of pay attention to which direction we are going to put this. So if we want the lobsters on the outside, then this is how we will weld it together. If we want the lobsters on the inside, then we'll need to flip that around. Or we could flip it around and do like this. So it really is kind of up to you how you want to do it. I'm going to do mine according to the directions of the design of the project recipe, just for clarity's sake. But really you can put these together however it makes you happy, as long as whatever you have in the center here, whether it's the large piece on this side or the large piece on this side, but as long as these 2 pieces match and are the same design, you'll get the same results. So I'm going to go ahead with it this way. Now what we do to weld, the easiest way I know to weld is to flip over your pages so that you have the edges you need to weld together, put together like this. Then you grab your adhesive and run your adhesive over at a slight diagonal right over that seam. Just put about 1 inch, 3/4 to 1 inch of adhesive right across that seam while you're holding it together. But now you can kind of let it lift up your hand. You don't have to hold it as tightly. Then you just lay down your strip of welding material over the top of that adhesive, and you're good to go. All right, this is a trick I learned from a CM advisor, Sherry Tilley, and she, I don't know if she came up with this or if she learned it from someone else, but I learned it from her and have done it this way ever since, because it just takes all of the craziness out of welding for me. Prior to learning this technique, I stressed when it came to welding, and I didn't do it very well. So again, you just lay that strip right down on top, push it down on top of the adhesive, and then you're good to go. All right. So now that we have our base pieces, let's go ahead and cut the rest of our papers. So I'm going to grab my trimmer and adjust my cutting guide so that I can read it a little bit easier. And then actually, let me set that aside. We're going to punch first. So I'm going to use my sand colored paper. This sand paper has sand on one side and kind of a woven pattern on the back. and it's not directional. However, it is a little bit more vertical than it is horizontal. So if that is important and a concern for you, then you might want to be careful how you place this in your punch. But I'm just going to go ahead and place it long ways so that my long woven parts are in the long portion of my punch holder. And then, as I talked before, normally we would use the rope Border Maker cartridge, but I loaned that out, so I don't have that right now. And so I'm going to try using one of these. These are also Border Maker chains. This is the lace scallop, which is a really nice edge and looks a lot like a seashell when it's punched. And so I thought it would be appropriate for the Seaside because of that. This is the Emerald Gemstones Border Maker, and it kind of reminded me of coral or something sea-like where that was concerned. I liked this one because, and this is an older one, because of the swoopiness of it. It's the same type of a wave as the rope chain that the project recipe calls for. So that's why I pulled this out. This one actually has kind of this the give and take of the rope chain, the scallop-y look to it. So I think maybe I will use this one just for now, and we will see how it works. So this is the Border Maker that was designed to go with our Emerald Gemstone collection. And you see it kind of does have a bit of a shell type of look to it as well. So that's kind of what we're going for, since this is Seaside. And we need 4 of these borders. And we'll be able to either use this side that has the rope on it, or we can flip it over and use just the sand, which once you've punched it into this design, you really can't tell the print that's on the paper per se. But so I think I probably will use the rope side because it gives just a little bit more definition, even though you can't tell that it's rope or the woven material. So there's 3. One more, and then we'll be able to use our trimmer to cut the rest. All right. So we'll set that aside, pull this out, set that aside. Let me get rid of this punch confetti here real quick. Clean up our workspace a bit. Okay. So we've got our 4 borders punched. Now we're going to use our trimmer and we're going to cut this at 6 1/4. So 6 1/4, which is out here on our arm. So 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. That's what we're looking for. 6 1/4. We need 2 that are 4 1/4. There's one. There's two. This piece is extra, so we're going to set that aside. And then they recommend, so we're going to be making some flags on this layout, and so they're asking us to cut this one at 1 1/2, which it already pretty much is at 1 1/2. Actually, it's a little off, so let me just trim it just to make sure that it's good to go. And that could have happened when I was punching, but it was just a hair off, so we fixed that. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this at 3 1/4. So 3 1/4, and we need another one that is 3 1/2. And another one that is 4 1/2. So 4 1/2. There we go. Okay, and these are going to be made into flags. So I'm going to set our mats aside, and then we will make those into flags in just a minute. So in the meantime, grab your last piece of paper, the last of the 4 that you have. And I'm using this really cool blue mottled paper and this red paper. And let's see, this one we're going to make some mats from as well. So this is going to be they're going to be 6 1/4 by 3 3/4. And they are going to be horizontal photos. So if you are turning your pages to make vertical photos, if you have more vertical photos than horizontal, then that may determine the direction that you want this paper to go. But because I'm doing horizontal photos, I want my paper to go this, or my mats to go this way, right? So I'm going to cut this at, what is the measurement again? 6 1/4 by 3 3/4. So 6 1/4. Set this one aside. And then we need 3 at 3 3/4. So 3 3/4, there's one. 3 3/4. A little over. There's 2. Okay, 3 3/4. There, here comes 3, and then this last piece is 3/4 in width and 6 1/4 in length, and that is also going to be a flag. So I'm gonna add that to my flag pile and put these 3 that are mats with my other mats. All right, then we're going to take this the rest of this sheet, and we're going to cut 3 inches from it. So 3 inches. Set this aside. We're going to turn this to the side, and we're going to cut 2 at 5 inches. There's one. And here's 2. Those are going to also be mats, and we're going to set those up here. And this remaining piece will be 2 inches by 3 inches. And this is also a flag, so I'm going to set this over here. Now, there is one more piece we need to cut, and it is going to be 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to use my 3/4 of an inch on the right hand side here so that I have more of a shoulder to keep my paper straight. So 3/4 of an inch. And then this piece is going to be extra. We're going to set this aside. This would have been our welding material, but because we used that plain cardstock instead, we save that for another day. And I also, now I need this last piece, which is going to be 5 1/2. So 5 1/2 is the edge of my trimmer, remember? The edge of my trimmer. And then this piece is extra as well. Okay, so this is also a flag, so we're going to set that over here. Now I'm going to grab some scissors, set this aside, my trimmer aside, grab my precision point scissors, and we're going to make all of these into flags very quickly. All right, so if you haven't done this before, let me just reiterate. The easiest way to make a flag is to fold the corners together. You don't need to crease it. Just fold the ends so that the corners meet. It's kind of hard on this one because this one is a little bit narrow. But fold it so that these two corners meet. And then you're going to take your scissors and cut from the corner up about 1/4 of an inch towards the folded area in the center. And you end up with a cute little flag. Okay, so that's what we're going to do for all of these. So once again, we're going to fold it so that the corners meet. So they come together right there. You don't need to crease it. In fact, if you don't crease it, it's better because then you don't have to worry about the crease looking funny in your layout. You just go up. This one, I probably went up about 3/8 of an inch, so a little bit of a deeper flag than the other. And we just add that little bit of flourish at the end, like a ribbon. We're going to do the same thing with these. Make them into flags real quick. And some of these are going to get flipped over, so we were going to use the reverse side. Point to point, cut from the point toward the fold in the middle, and you're good to go. So let me get rid of my little extra pieces. All right, I believe we are ready to put this one together. So let me put my scissors away, gather my flags to the side here, and grab my base pages. Okay, here are the base pages, and we are going to take our, actually, you know what? I just realized something that I need to do that you may not need to do. I don't have any more of my border stickers, so all of my stickers are kind of picked over because, like I said, this is a collection from last year. So as a result, I don't have the long piece that we're going to need to go down the center of this weld. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this paper that we had left over to go ahead and just cut a piece with my trimmer to go down the center. And I'm going to use one of my decorative blades to do that because I just think it will look nicer. I think we're going to use the wave since this is a C Seaside layout. We'll use the wave. So I'm just going to pop that into my housing, and I'm going to place the paper so that it is roughly on the far right cutting line on my trimmer. So it's just over my cutting edge, and that is so that I can add that decorative edge to the edge of my paper. Okay, so there we go. There's a decorative edge. My paper wanted to shift there at the end, so. All right, I just need about a 1/2 inch, maybe not even a 1/2 inch, but let's go with a 1/2 inch. I think that would probably be good. So we're gonna do just a 1/2 inch, and I have to kind of make up for the fact that my paper shifted. So I have to kind of make an adjustment here. There we go. Sometimes when you're cutting on the very edge of your paper wants to wiggle. And you can overcome that by using a little repositionable adhesive on it to keep it stable so it doesn't shift. I just didn't do that, and then my paper shifted, so. It doesn't shift when you are cutting a larger piece like this. It only shifts when you're trying to cut something narrow like I was before. All right, so we've got those two pieces, and now we can put it together. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 of each of these, and we're going to make a channel essentially over this cut area. We can either go ahead and glue down the center and then put down our border on either side of it, or we can go ahead and put the border down and then put the cut piece on top. So I'm just laying this out just to see what it looks like, to decide what I want to do. So this one, I've put the 2 punched borders together so their points are touching, and then this piece will go over the top of it. I just want to see if that's what I want to do, if I like the way that looks. Hard to tell because I didn't line that up super great. There we go. That's better. So it could look like that, or it could look just like this one, and then I went and moved it. Here we go. This is better. Could look more like this. I think I like this one better, but it really depends on how wide you want your border to be. But I think I want to go with this one. I like it better. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and put my punched border down with a little bit of repositionable adhesive, so I don't have to stress about the little holes in this border, because oh my gosh, that would be kind of crazy, don't you think? And I have these, I turned mine so that the points meet in the middle, so it kind of makes kind of makes a circle. I'll show you. Just one second. Let me get this put down. So if I was to do these both exactly the way they came out of the punch, then they would look like this. But I don't want them to be mirror images of each other. Or I mean, I don't want them to be exactly the same as how they were punched. I want them to be a mirror image. So I just turned this one around so that the bottom is now up here and the top is now down here, and then we end up with pieces that meet in the center. Which is what I want. So that I can make these points all line up. All right, so that's good. Now I can either choose to use my red piece, because the red is what's on the back of that beautiful ocean blue. I can make it red, or I can make it blue. We can keep the red as more of an accent. I think I'm gonna think about that for a minute. Let's do this side. Repositionable adhesive so that we can lift it right up if we put it down where we don't want it. This is also, I also love repositionable adhesive because when you have a punched border like this one with all the little holes in it, you can still take your adhesive and just run it along, and that adhesive is not going to make a problem on my mat. It rubs right off if any of it sticks at all. And so you don't end up with a sticky mat, because that would really stink if your work surface became sticky. You'd have to clean it. It would drive me bonkers. Okay. I would have to clean it. Might not bother you, but I would have to clean it for sure. Okay, so here are our two options. We can do the red, or we can do the blue. And I suppose it just depends on what appeals to you more, but I like the blue because I think this red is a little too rusty for me, so I like the blue better. So a little bit of adhesive all the way down. And this just is centered so that you see an even amount of both of those punches all the way up. Okay. And if you have pieces that have a pattern or at least a similarity, try to make sure, like, see how I have a white end on each of these strips? You want to make sure that that the ends are the same, that you put it on there the same, so one doesn't appear to be upside down. All right, there we go. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our mats and where they're going to go, and then we can choose where our flags are going to go. Okay, let's see. So these two that have the baskety weave are going to go over here on this wide section of stripes, and one of them may get flipped over But for right now, that's the way it's going to be. And then these long ones are going to go here on the wide section of the blue. And then these two that are a little more narrow go up the short section of the blue that's on the right hand side. Okay, just like that. Okay, then we have flags that will go off down here and flags that will go off up here. And if you wanted to, you could add a journal box right here. That would be the perfect spot for a journal box. I have a little bit left of this sandpaper I could just cut down and add right in there as my journal box. I think that's what I might do. But let's get our flags put on so that we have those. So each one of these, we're gonna have a long one and a long one that's flipped over. And we're going to have, are we missing one? Oh, no, it was hiding. Okay, let's see, which one is that one? Okay, so the longest of the three that were cut from our sand colored paper, the longest one is going to be the one that goes over here. And we're going to probably flip that one over. Okay, and then up here on the side, we're going to have these guys. And you can make them however you would like, you know, as far as what combination you want them to be in. And if one's not sticking out enough, you can move it and stick it out a little bit more. That works. So the way that the example shows, the longest one would be at the bottom. The next one would be close to the edge, like so. Next longest one. And then the short one would be kind of right in the middle of both of them, like so. So you could do it that way if you'd like. You can do it however you like your flags to look. This flag on top feels kind of wide to me, like maybe it's just a little bit big, but it's possible that I just don't have that centered quite well. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to adhere these flags together, and then I'm going to temporarily adhere my mats down. So about 1/4 inch from the edge, and I'm keeping this edge the same. But if you, like I said, if you didn't like the length of these, you could extend it just a little bit. You don't have a lot of play in there because you'll hit the edge of your paper, but you could extend it just a little if you wanted. I'm actually thinking that I might want to make the blue or the red side the side that is seen for this. So bear with me a second. I'm just going to rub off my repositionable adhesive so that it's not on this side, because I want to flip it over and put it on this side. All right, now I'm going to put adhesive down on all of that. And these flags are going to go up here, right on top of our border that we punched. So right against the either the sticker border, if you use a sticker up the center here, or against this strip that you cut and stuck in there, right? So we're gonna stick that there. And then these down here are done in a similar fashion. Let's see. Those two are right next to each other, and then this one is offset and just down a piece, kind of like so. So I think we'll go ahead and just put these right on and not fool with trying to adhere them together first. And these are right next to each other, flush here, even, and the top edge and the bottom edge of the ribbons are right next to each other. Okay, and then this one is going to go right on top, but a little bit off. So it's going to go down maybe a 1/4 of an inch from the top edge of the ribbon. Like just like that. So very close to the bottom edge of our paper. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and play with these just a little bit. I think I'm going to make this basket, and this one will be sand. And we're gonna line those up. That's roughly a 1/2 inch above my flags down here. And again, I'm just using my repositionable adhesive because I don't know what I'm going to use this page for yet. I may decide I want to do something different with it. So you know, as far as the directionality of my photos. So that's why I'm just using some repositionable adhesive to adhere my mats down. And when I decide the photos that are going to go on this page, then I will be able to permanently adhere them. You want to be careful though, as I've said before, about putting repositionable adhesive on your colored designer paper, because if you do have to take your mat off, there's a good chance that you're going to end up with some dots that remove the color from your paper. So that's why whenever I do this and I temporarily put my mats on so that I don't lose them, I do try and put my adhesive right in the middle, because it's going to be covered no matter which way I have my my mat going. The probability that it will be covered if the color is removed is greater if my adhesive is right in the center. All right. So here are our 2 pages. Now we need to do some quick embellishing and we are done. So I just have a few stickers left and a couple of popped up stickers that we can use. I've got a compass, an anchor, a sailboat, a lighthouse, and I've got a whale tail. So I think, and I've got a few stickers. I've got this really nice seashell, which we're going to use. And we've got this cute little lobster. And that takes care of that sticker sheet. That one's done. So we've got Simple Pleasures, Sunshine, Salt and Saltwater, Coastal, By the Bay, Rise and Shine, Wanderlust, Away We Go, Photo Op, Seaside. I think we're gonna use Seaside, because why not? You know, this is a Seaside layout. I really like this one that says Coastal, but I don't have anything else that's wood in this particular layout. But we still could probably make that one work. I like this one that says Simple Pleasures because it's made with starfish, and so that kind of works with the shell. Let's see what we can put together here. Lots of circles. And I'm not sure I want to use the lighthouse because this will probably go in my book that I've got that I'll be working on with my pictures from my trip that I just came back from. So I want to be sure that I can use things that apply, and maybe we'll pop this guy up. You could stick this here. We'll use our shell. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that with my video. Maybe we'll pop Seaside up with some you know what, let's stick this guy down here. In that case, we need to move this to the other side. Put him there. And we're gonna use this one up here. Let me grab some pop squares, foam squares. I almost said pop dots. They're not pop dots. They're foam squares. Just stick a couple of these guys on here. Okay. Well, I think that shell really likes to be up here. Maybe where we're leaving him. All right, so Seaside's gonna go right under Coastal. Coastal Seaside. And I'm gonna just put that kind of at the same level as the seam in my photos, because that will help direct the eye. That got a little bit crooked, but that's okay. It'll be all right. And I need something, just a little something extra to go with this guy over here. We could add By the Bay, Simple Pleasures by the Bay. I love the water, especially during the summer. Something so soothing about waves. Even the sound of the seagulls. Probably has to do with the fact that I was raised in Southern California and used to going to the beach a lot. Simple pleasures by the bay. And we're gonna lift that up and stick the anchor, or stick it under the anchor, like that. All right, we are done with another layout. Good job. Okay. So this is Seaside, and again, you can use this layout with any collection that you have, but if you have Seaside, I do encourage you to pull it out. And oh, we were going to put this, make a journal box with this, so don't forget you can do that. You can make a journal box with that. I'll take a picture and load that into my thumbprint so you can see it. But you can use this with any collection, but if you do have Seaside, as I was saying, pull it out of your stash and use it. It's a really great collection and has some really great colors in it. Perfect for the bay, the beach, water outings of many different kinds, especially if you live on the East Coast and you have lighthouses and things. This collection has a lot of that type of oriented stuff. So I encourage you to use it. And until next time, I am wishing you more creative moments, many, many more creative moments. Thanks so much. You have a great day.